welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today here. My name is Chris, and that is what we are going to be learning in this guitar lesson. I am calling this Flamenco Guitar Lesson number 2. I'm calling it Flamenco Guitar Lesson number 2 based on you being a beginner guitarist, maybe know a couple of chords and want to get into flamenco without having much guitar experience at all, okay? So if that does not define you, you might not like this video. However, I'd super appreciate you sticking around if you want to hang out. I love it. So thanks again for joining me. We're going to be going over that music. You're going to be learning 3 chords, and then we're going to talk about the techniques used, and you're going to walk away being able to play this really well. Before I forget, I have to ask you, well, I don't have to, but I'd like to ask you, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. It helps me out a ton, and so I appreciate that. If you want to do that, I would love it. And if you want to sign up for my Patreon, that would be even more amazing. So this video, like all my videos on YouTube, are brought to you by my amazing Patreon subscribers. Thank you all so much, and join us. I'm going to be doing a little extra video on this lesson over there, so you can join me in the community over there. So let's get on with the lesson. Hopefully your guitar is tuned up and ready to go. And real quick on that, if you need somebody like a whole course on just the very basics, I have one of those, so you can contact me about that, or the information will be in the description. So that'll go over, like, tuning and tabs and how to read chord diagrams and all the fundamentals, plus you'll get into some cool flamenco stuff by the end of it. So anyway, here we go. Your guitar is tuned up, ready to go. We're going to learn 2 chords. We already did this in lesson number 1, so I'll do them really quick. The first one's an E, second finger on the 4th string, the D string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2nd fret, pointer finger on the G string, the 3rd string, 1st fret, 1, 2, 3, and then 1st fret. It's a 4-string chord, so we're going to take our right hand, or fret hand thumb, or picking hand thumb. This is my picking hand thumb. We're going to take that and we're going to go. Make sure that all 4 strings ring clearly, okay? Next is an F major 7. You're going to take your 3rd finger, put that on the 4th string, 3rd fret, 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, pointer finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. So this creates a little staircase descending away from you, okay? It's a 4-string chord as well. And this is an F major 7 chord. We did both of these chords in Flamenco Guitar Lesson number 1. Were you there? You might have been absent for that lesson. So anyway, so that's why we're going over these again. But here's a new chord with the same shape. What's nice about a guitar is that we have shapes that you move them around and they create different chords. So we have the same shape. You're gonna keep these 3 fingers on these 3 strings, okay? Don't lift them. Now we're just gonna slide, not 1 fret, but 2 frets. So now your 3rd finger should be on 4th string, 5th fret. Middle finger should be on 3rd string, 4th fret. And pointer finger should be on 2nd string, 3rd fret. Okay? This is a 4-string chord as well. How we're going to use it, it's a G6. All right. So your job is to get those 3 chords. That's job number 1. If you were sitting in front of me, I would make sure that you had those well enough to go to the next stage before we went to the next stage. So I would talk to you about anything that I was seeing here that you're having challenges with. And then once we get that, where I see that you have the ability to go on to the next material, we go on to the next material. So I want to encourage you to pause the video here and get that, Don't be in a rush. Get this good. Get these chords. And they sound great. And get them in all the orders. Play the F first, then the E, then the G, then the E, then the F, and be able to get them like that, okay? Just using your thumb. All right, the new technique today, we're going to do what's called an arpeggio. Arpeggio in Italian means broken chord. So it means the notes of a chord not played all at once. If we were to look at the music notation, a chord would be stacked. All the notes would be in a stack, okay? So this E would sound like this, okay? Which sounds pretty cool. And arpeggio just means literally what we were doing with our thumb here, just to check the chords. That's an arpeggio. It's a broken chord. So now those notes of the chord are not stacked. By the way, as you might tell, I'm not too sophisticated in my technology. And so here would be a great time for a graphic to appear, but I have no graphics. I have no idea how to do that. I need lessons on that. But I can't stop playing guitar. I just, it's like, yeah, I could learn that stuff, but I got to play more guitar or do more martial arts. And so that's all I've got time for, people. So anyway, so you got those stacked notes. I crack myself up. I don't know if you're laughing, but anyway. So you got those 4 stacked notes. It would be like this, or the arpeggio would be like that. So that's the technical term for arpeggio. However, in guitar, when we think arpeggio with flamenco or classical guitar, automatically we start thinking of multiple fingers playing these chords, okay? So what we're gonna do is I want you to take your thumb, let's get the E, okay? Actually, let's get the F major 7, okay? The second chord. So we're starting on 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret. You're gonna take your thumb, put that on the 4th string, and you're gonna put these 3 fingers, your index, middle, ring, so that your index finger is on the 3rd string, your middle finger is on the 2nd string, your ring finger is on the high E string, and your thumb is here on that 4th string. Importantly, I want to show you that my thumb is outside of my hand. It's not like this, okay? So you got to make sure that you find that angle, that you can get your thumb outside of your hand, because your fingers need to work freely without having any oncoming collisions. So if I put my thumb in here and I push my thumb forward, all of a sudden my fingers and my thumb can't go together at the same time. I need to be able to have them all go together. So in order to accomplish this, depending on the angle of how you're holding the guitar, again, my very beginner course goes over how to hold the guitar right, making sure that you have the proper posture and all that. But this has a lot to do with it, is with your proper posture, you'll be able to get this more easily, okay? So for some people, it feels very awkward. Their go-to is like this, with their thumb tucked inside, like that. But it needs to be out, okay? So just think like making a fist. You go here, close your fist, and then bring that thumb out, around. So your thumb needs to stay out of a fist, please. Yeah, if you're making a fist, make sure that your thumb stays out, because you'll break your thumb. Anyway, so here, you got to make sure that your thumb is outside of your fingers. All right, so you have 4 fingers here. In classical guitar, we would call this preparation, okay? We prepare all fingers. They're all going to be on, okay? So your thumb is going to play, and then your index finger is going to play, then your middle finger, then your ring finger, okay? So we're going to go thumb, index, middle, ring, and then you're going to bring back your middle, play the 2nd finger, or 2nd string rather, and then play the 3rd string with your pointer finger again. So we have specific areas of operation, a specific duty for each of these fingers. Your thumb will strictly play the 4th string. Your index finger will strictly play the 3rd string. 2nd finger will strictly play the 2nd string. Ring finger will strictly play the 1st string, okay? Right now for this arpeggio part, okay? So we're gonna go thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. Let's try that again, okay? Get all your fingers prepared. Get them on the strings. I want you to do that. Why do I want you to do this? We're not going to actually do that when we're playing the music, okay, eventually. But if you're brand new, this will help you train your fingers to know where the strings are, okay? So we want to start from contact here, okay? So we go thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, okay? Let's try it again. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. All right, so hopefully you have that. I would be testing you here, like, if you were sitting right in front of me, I'd make sure that you can do that, make sure that nothing changes here. There would be lots of discussions maybe about nails, maybe about what type of picking that we're doing. Right now, you might be noticing that I strictly use rest strokes with my thumb. So Rest stroke means I follow through and I go to the next string and I rest it, okay? I strictly use rest strokes with my thumb. So here, I'm actually resting before I play that index finger. My index, middle, and ring are all using what are called free strokes. So they're just going into my hand and they are not touching any other string, okay? That one I actually touched by accident, so I apologize about that. So thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. So I use strictly rest stroke all the time with my thumb. However, you do not have to. If it feels better for this particular technique, the arpeggio technique, when I did classical guitar, I got a degree in classical guitar performance, so I have quite a bit of experience in classical guitar as well, as although I don't consider myself a classical guitarist by a long shot for a long time. I haven't done that. Anyway, however, there was a time where I did free strokes with my thumb. I've left that far behind now, but there are lots of flamenco guitarists that will still use free strokes with their thumb for some techniques. I encourage you to be able to do both. I don't, but that doesn't mean you cannot, okay? So it's nice to have options, and if you can do that, then do it. So that means you could do a free stroke here, and then free, 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 free. You're free. All right, cool. So we've got that. Hopefully you have that. I would then recommend putting that with a click, putting that with a metronome. So let's go. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So we're going to use that as eighth note subdivisions. We're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and. All right. And so if you need to, if you're new to the metronome, you would do one action per click. Click, 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 click. Now, if you're a great student, which I know you are, you just look like a great student. So what I would recommend is that you now listen back to what I just did, find out approximately with the metronome what that click was at. Yeah, maybe it was at 95 or something like that, okay? Find out what that click was at. Can you play it with that click on your own, not with the video, okay? Can you play it where it goes click, 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 click? If you cannot do that, if that's too fast, slow it down, but now you have the metronome available to you. One action per click. What we're going to be doing is eighth notes, so we're going to be doing 2 actions per click. We're going to go click, click, click. Okay, so that's what we got to get to, and I got to get you comfortable doing that. We'd have maybe multiple lessons about that, okay? Depending on where you are as far as being able to hear the beat and be able to get aligned with the beat and be able to play in time, okay? But that is super important. Let me know in the comments if you've gotten this far. Put metronome in the comments. Let me know also with that comment if you want more information on how to play with the metronome. For me, I've noticed nationwide, whenever I teach around the United States, people have problems with using the metronome and playing rhythm, okay? So this could be a big thing for you, and if it is, we need to get it so it's not a big thing. We gotta, I tell all my students, I can't imagine practicing without a metronome. That doesn't happen. I don't practice without a metronome, and you shouldn't practice without a metronome. The metronome should be your best friend, okay? We gotta figure out a way for you to embrace the metronome. Embrace the metronome. Put that in the comments too if you just heard that. All right. So right now you just played the first 3 beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and. And in the first lesson we went over what this is. It's a Soleá, and that this is a 12 beats. So now you're a quarter of the way through. Okay. The next part that we're going to play is we're going to go to that E. Okay. So now you're going to play thumb, the rest stroke. Now I want you to specifically do a rest stroke. Thumb, index, free stroke on the high E string. Thumb, index. So now we're breaking that area of operations things. Now it's like now we've gone to the next chapter and we're going to go here. Index on the high E string. I reading some students' mind. I don't know which student you are, but one of the students is going to ask, can I use my ring finger or my middle finger for that high E string? Yes, you can. But in flamenco, we use that high E string with the index finger as a timekeeper. So you will see every flamenco guitarist, we use our index finger for that high E. So I highly recommend you get used to, if you're serious about learning flamenco, that you use that high E. In English, for some reason, when we want to stress a word, we'll say it twice. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Flamenco. Anyway, so that high E string. So I want you to move your index finger to there, okay? So thumb, index, thumb, and then thumb on that high E string, okay? Thumb, index, thumb, and it's all rest stroke. Thumb, index, thumb, and now on the last one, you just kind of let it continue. You're going to replace yourself get ready for the arpeggio, okay? So you're going to prepare, and we're going to do the exact same thing again. The arpeggio, and then this again. The little, what I call a mini remate, which we could go over that, in my longer course. I talk about what all that is. For right now, just kind of go, okay, it's the same. We're doing this part, and then this part. Now we do it again. Now we're going to do the F major 7 one more time. And then we're going to get wild and crazy. Okay, so what we've done now is a Soleá. Like I said, I talked about this in the first class, but I'll talk about it a little bit more right now. Soleá is one of the many rhythms in flamenco that are 12 beats. So what we just completed was a full 12 beats, and now we're into the second set of 12 beats. Okay, so a second compás. We call it a compás. We use compás for multiple meanings, but a compás would be kind of like a measurement. That's how I'm using it in this particular context. So if I were to count now, put beats to all this, we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so we got to 12, okay? We just repeated the same 6-beat phrase twice. Hey, magically it turns to 12, okay? Now we're going to start the second compás, the second set of 12 beats with the same F major 7 arpeggio. Now we're going to bring in that G6. We're going to take this up here, do that arpeggio there. Go back to the F major 7, do the arpeggio there. And then we're going to do our little close here. And now magically you have 2 sets of 12 beats. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so now you have 8 measures of music. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to play this for you with a metronome at 60 beats per minute on the metronome. I'm just getting my metronome ready. Sorry, hopefully I don't have any mocos, so you're not looking in my nose, are you? Okay, so that's at 60 beats per minute, all right? So if you're using a metronome, and I know you are because you are an awesome student, I always want to make sure you count in. Don't just jump into the beat and hope you can swim, okay? Don't just hope that you can play in rhythm. I want you to count in, okay? So I want you to get used to, because we're in 12 beats, I want you to get used to saying for this, for Soleá, I want you to get the click and go 10, 11, 12, then start. Let's do that again. 10, 11, 12, then start. Okay, and then you would start. So that's what we're going to do. Now you know how to do that. We're going to go 10, and get ready, get prepared. Okay, we're going to play the whole thing. 10, 11, 12, and... Excellent. How did you do? What do you think? Did pretty well? So that was 2 passes of 12 beats. We're going to do the same thing again, okay? Because that was fun. Super cool. So music is not just the right notes. It's the right notes at the right time. If you are not playing this in rhythm, it doesn't matter. No vale nada, okay? It's not going to work, okay? You have to play it in time, okay? So we got to work at this. If you do not like it, embrace it. That means you found something you need to work on, and that's awesome. So now I'm going to help you get there, okay? So we're going to do this again. I'm actually going to count. If you're having a really hard time with this, I would highly recommend that you don't play guitar. Like, use this part as study just in rhythm and count along, and let me play guitar and you count along, okay? Ideally, you would count along with tapping on your leg or tapping your foot and count while I'm counting. Just count with me and let the music flow over you. You're getting that via osmosis. You can also practice guitar, practice the technical part. Eventually, those two parts will merge. But we need to work on, well, I don't know, possibly, we need to work on rhythm. If you're having a challenge with that, then that's what I would recommend you do. I'm going to turn back the metronome, turn it back on. We're going to count in and do the same thing again, okay? But I'll count the whole time, okay? 10, 11, 12, and here we go. You know what? I forgot to count. 10, 11, 12, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and... So you might notice that every time we do that close, what I'll call a close, that last thumb note lasts longer. Every other one, we're on eighth notes. We go, I'll start from the beginning, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and. There's no note on that and. So it's called the quarter note. So 4, and 5, and 6. That's how I would prefer to count it for me personally, but some people that messes up because I change. So I just decided to keep it in all ands, okay? So I still said the and, but nothing got played during that, okay? So I personally would count it 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and... So you kind of figure out what works best for you. Either one is totally okay, as long as you know what you're doing, okay? So all this music is tabbed out for all my Patreon subscribers. In the lesson on Patreon that we're going to do, we're going to talk about how to close or how to combine the last one and this one and to make it sound more flamenco. So join us there on Patreon. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I have a full course on Soleá, but what I would recommend is I have the flamenco guitar class lesson number 1. Now number 2, learn both of those. I have a course playlist on YouTube with 2 other videos, at least 2 other videos, maybe 3. Go through all those. If you like all that and want to do more, then join me for my course, okay? In the meantime, make sure to get the download my free ebook on the 12, I call it the Daily Dozen. It's my Daily Dozen, and it's the 12 techniques that you have to know and play, practice every day as a flamenco guitarist. And so that ebook is free for you. The link will be below and wherever maybe here. And that's it. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Work on this, work with the metronome. Again, embrace the metronome. The sooner you do that, the sooner your musical life is going to improve. I guarantee it. It's going to be struggle. You're going to be maybe on the struggle bus for a while, okay? But just keep on working at it. Keep on working at it. It will pay off. Maybe one day I will share the story of why I'm such a firm believer in this this method, or why I'm talking to you about this so strongly. So anyway, let me know if you want me to tell that story in a YouTube video. Tell the story. That'll be the last thing. Let's see if you are watching all the way till the end. If you're watching all the way here, man, I love you. Man or woman, I love you. Give me a hug. So I appreciate you, and I hope you had a great time in this flamenco guitar lesson number 2. Go check out number 1. I'll leave the link here, and start combining them. Join us on Patreon. We can talk about it. Have a great day, and I will see you soon here on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. Be well. Bye-bye.